All right, today we're jumping into a really popular online video that's all about uterine health and fertility. It's a fascinating deep dive into folk remedies, the communities that form around them, and how creators on these platforms build such powerful connections with their followers. Let's get into it. So, right out of the gate, the creator hits us with this. It really sets the stage, doesn't it? This tells you immediately that this isn't just someone talking into a camera. No, this is a real back-and-forth conversation happening with a community that is incredibly engaged. This dynamic is at the heart of what we're going to break down. Okay, here's our game plan. First up, we'll look at the creator's plea to her audience. Then, we'll get into the main problem she's addressing, how winter can be a threat to fertility. After that, we'll go through her solutions, both a daily regimen and a whole arsenal of specific remedies. And to wrap it all up, we'll zoom out and look at the bigger picture of this online advice world. So, first things first, before we even get to the fertility advice, the creator gets real about something else, the actual business of being a creator. She kicks things off with a very frank discussion about what she needs from her viewers to keep her work going. And this visual just lays it all out there. She's got this huge gap, 300 people in her messages asking for help, but only 50 likes. Think about that. For every 1 like she gets, 6 people are asking for personal advice. She even asks her audience directly, how can I find the spirit to answer the questions? It really shows you the difference between people just watching and people actively supporting. And here's why that matters so much to her. It's not about ego. For this creator, a like is a tool. It's a functional piece of currency. She explains that likes are what tell the platform's algorithm to show the video to more people. And the more people who see it, the more she's able to justify spending her time answering all those questions. It's a very clear transaction. Your support helps her support you. Okay, so once that's all established, we get to the core of the video's advice. It all revolves around a specific danger she says winter poses to anyone trying to conceive. And it's all centered on this concept she calls the cold uterus. So what exactly is a cold uterus? Well, according to the video, it's a condition where cold literally gets into the uterus, creating an environment that's completely hostile to a pregnancy. And we're not talking about a small problem here. In her view, this is a major roadblock, something that makes getting pregnant practically impossible. I mean, listen to that. The language is so definitive. Impossible. For 5 or 6 months, that's really strong. It immediately raises the stakes, you know? It tells her audience, you need to pay attention because this is a serious problem, and it perfectly sets up her advice as the essential solution. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, she starts with the basics. The first line of defense is a set of simple, everyday habits that are all designed to fight this cold by keeping the body warm, both inside and out. She lays out 3 key preventative measures. Number 1, beverages. And she's very specific, not just warm, but very hot drinks, especially during your period. The idea is to heat the body from the inside. Number 2, dress warm. She says keeping your whole body warm with heavy clothing is non-negotiable. And finally, number 3 is about hygiene, changing sanitary pads at least 3 times a day to keep things clean and prevent inflammation. All right, so those are the daily habits, but then we get into what she calls her arsenal of remedies. This is the more intensive, hands-on stuff. These are presented as active treatments with different instructions for during and after your period. So while someone's on their period, she recommends a whole bunch of herbal teas. You've got things you've probably heard of like chamomile and thyme, but also stuff like marjoram, fenugreek, and cumin. The idea is to keep drinking these hot teas throughout the day to really help with cleansing the body. Now, she really zeroes in on one ingredient in particular, cumin. She calls it one of the most powerful cleansers, but she's very particular about it. You can't just use the ground powder you have in your spice rack. Nope. She says it has to be the whole seeds, claiming that this form is way more effective at cleansing the uterus and getting rid of that cold. Okay, so after the period ends, things get even more specific with a 3-day plan. Day 1 is a hot bath with coarse salt, which she says helps remove negative energy. Day 2 involves using a specific herbal suppository that she has a recipe for. And day 3, well, this is the most intense one. For those dealing with adhesions, she advises using a syringe without the needle to inject olive oil into the cervix. And it's worth pointing out here that this is presented as a folk remedy, and something this invasive is definitely something you should talk to a doctor about. And the list doesn't stop there. There are even more advanced remedies mentioned for different issues. We're talking about everything from putting a mixture of chamomile and lavender in a sanitary pad to an onion and garlic soak,
all the way to a heated garlic suppository that she specifies is for the rectum, not the vagina. It's really like a whole library of these folk treatments. And again, just to be clear, we're explaining what's in the source video. These are presented as folk remedies, and medical advice should always come from a professional.
Okay, so let's take a step back for a second. What's really going on here? Because this is obviously about more than just herbal tea recipes, right? This video is a perfect window into a powerful online world where creators and communities are connecting over some really deep personal stuff.
And I think this really is the key. The creator isn't just throwing out tips, she's building trust. She is tapping into a problem that is deeply personal and urgent for people, and she's giving them a clear plan, a set of steps they can actually do. That gives people a feeling of control, and that is what creates that incredibly loyal, highly engaged community we talked about right at the start.
So that leaves us with this final thought. When you see content like this get so popular, it's not just about the specific remedies. It's really about people searching for answers, searching for a community they can trust, especially when it comes to something as personal as their health. It kind of makes you wonder, in this digital age where we have endless information at our fingertips, who do we choose to trust and why? Definitely something to think about.